Catherine, you didn't write any notes for this Nerd Week, so we're going to skip on to Charles.
No, yes. I wrote notes. I just had them in then.
Charles,
I literally just wrote them then.
What was in your Nerd Week?
I see the word Natcon, so that's a word.
Yep, Natcon. That was so. I, as you guys know, as you are very, very old friends of mine, but I have been a nerd my whole life, and was going to science fiction conventions since I was about 6 months old. And so this weekend I went back to my heritage, and the Australian National Science Fiction Convention was in Melbourne, and I went there for a couple of days. So that was awesome.
I didn't even hear that was on. How does that happen?
So it's an interesting thing where it's primarily the focus is on science fiction writers. And if you went back, say, maybe 15 years ago, a lot of the conventions would have had maybe 300 or 400 people. And now they're probably down to about 150 because all of the new little nerds that are coming up aren't going to those. Like, they might be reading those authors, but they're going to Supernova or PAX, or, like, they're finding their communities, but in a really different way.
Yep.
And I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about how the community can try and kind of not fix itself, but just like, you do want young people coming through, and you do want your numbers to stay up, but it's really hard when, like, there's maybe only 3 or 4 authors that could get those kind of numbers.
But I mean, it's also an advertising issue. Like, my Facebook feed is just full of nerd stuff, but somehow this didn't even make it on. So
well, I mean, I barely made it onto mine, and like I had like 30 friends there, so or like family friends.
I think that says more about how you interact with your friends.
Yeah, people are ashamed to say that they're going to it.
No, it's not that. It's a completely different demographic. Like, it's science fiction from a literary sense. But yeah, so that was pretty nerdy. I think that's probably one of the nerdier things you can do, going to a con.
Yeah, that'll work.
I agree. Yeah, conventions are pretty nerdy.
All right, so my nerd week was pretty busy, actually. So I saw Wonder Woman. I actually dragged the wife along to that, who is an anti-nerd.
Credit to Catherine. Catherine.
Yeah, well, Catherine babysat the little munch, so that was fantastic.
No one died.
No one did die. And Wonder Woman was great. I really enjoyed it. It was very entertaining, and it was great because the person who played Wonder Woman was great, essentially. The character was excellent. The actress, or the actor, we don't genderize these days. She was fantastic, partly because she was the sexiest woman I've ever seen on film, but also partly because she just fit the role really well. And the way they handled the character was very tasteful. And very classy, and very within what it should have been. The movie itself had issues, which, I mean, if you've seen it, you can probably work that out for yourself. My favorite was Ares when he gets shot down and he's there shirtless with his mustache. Pretty much everyone in the cinema let out a bit of a giggle at that stage.
Yeah, in like this, like, it's like 3000 BC, and you're like, what? Like, why does
this
he
little
have a
British
mustache?
Yeah, just hilarious.
I mean,
well, let's stop on that, because Catherine and I wanted to talk about it a bit last episode, but you hadn't seen it, like a
Charles
chump.
ruined it.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about Wonder Woman a little bit, and if you're like me and don't want any spoilers if you're going to go watch a thing, just fast forward to the news. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Everything up until that Ares fight.
I mean, a friend described it really well, which was like, as a superhero film, it's fine. Like, it's nothing that revolutionary. But in the context of the fact that we haven't had a good superhero film starring a woman, it's fucking amazing. Like, so I think, like, if you kind of can't separate the content from the cultural context in which it's in.
Gender.
Yeah, and it's like, the Black Panther film, people are super, super excited, and it's because there hasn't been a black superhero film before. So even if it's not a great superhero film,
apart from Blade,
that's not a superhero technically.
Didn't that have Ryan Reynolds in it? It's mostly Ryan Reynolds.
I think he was in the third one.
Yeah. It's not a superhero film technically,
but also, I mean, yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm having a bit of fun, but Black Panther has essentially an all black cast, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's like Luke Cage on TV. It's that thing where people go, "Oh, well, is it the best show of all time?" No, probably not. But if I had never seen someone that looked like myself on screen, and suddenly as a lead role, and suddenly I am, like, of course I'm going to give it some extra points. Like,
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I like the fact that because Gal Gadot can't do an accent, everyone on Themyscira has to talk like Gal Gadot.
Yeah. That's what that was about. Okay, very good.
Yeah,
at
least that's what I think. I actually have no idea if that's true, but that's what it sounded like.
It would make sense, because otherwise they were just speaking ridiculously for no reason whatsoever. But that's fine. So Wonder Woman was seen. Other things I've been up to. I've decided, in my arrogance, that I'm going to design a board game. Which may or may not work. So far, though, it's going pretty well. Obviously, Catherine and Dan know all about it because I'm bouncing ideas off them, and I will keep the audience of this podcast updated with how that's going. At the moment, I'm about halfway, maybe 2/3 through the rulebook, so it's actually progressing pretty quickly. It's been about a week and a half since I got the idea for it, so we'll wait and see how that goes.
Can you break us off a piece? Can you break off the readers a piece just so they can get a little taste?
What do you mean? What does
of
that
like
mean?
what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So it's an
teaser.
apocalypse-based kind of game, and the idea is that each player is in charge of their own bastion, which is what I'm calling kind of their survivor strongholds. And it's a tile game, and essentially you pick up tiles and place them on your bastion, making it stronger, and trying to out-survive the other players around you.
So, do you think Catherine just loses at this game by default, because we know she'd be terrible in an apocalypse?
Well, she won't be able to talk her way out of it in this game. She'll actually have to survive. There's no talking feature.
I have very strong opinions about how I would be in an apocalypse, which I think you guys have heard before.
I might somehow factor that in.
Possibly on the This War of Mine episode.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about that. So maybe there'll be a talk your way to survival feature.
Yeah,
we'll find out. And lastly, by the time our listeners are listening to this, I will have attended the midnight release for Warhammer 40k 8th edition, which for me is tomorrow night, in your past, in my future, which I am very, very excited about. So I'm going to go along to that. And it's going to be rad. And I'm going to pick up my goodies and put together some miniatures and play some games.
So tell us, what are you doing to get hyped for this Warhammer 40k launch, Charles?
I'm currently watching, or at least I was attempting to watch, the Twitch of the girl who is painting the miniatures for the demo games at the store that I'm going to be playing at. That's how specific we can nerd these days.
Brilliant.
Wow, that's one of the nerdiest sentences you ever said. And like me, you've said some nerdy sentences.
It's pretty amazing. I'm going deep. I'm hooking the nerd into my veins and just taking it.
So you're not even watching someone play with the new demo miniatures, like playing in a skirmish?
No, I've watched plenty of that, though, I assure you.
Yeah, no,
yeah. I've watched at least, 10 8th edition games on YouTube so far.
Sometimes your life is like a nightmare for me. Like, I think about if I had to go like play Destiny and Warhammer, and I'm just like, that would be so awful.
I've got to quickly finish dinner tonight, my love, because I need to watch someone else paint miniatures on TV.
I only do that on my downtime, not my.
I actually don't think you could pay me to do it.
I disagree. I think you'd do almost anything for money.
Yeah, okay. It depends how much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I retract that.
Launching the new Game Club live stream where Catherine paints miniatures for money.
Poorly, no doubt.
so
Daniel,
poorly.
Your Nerd Week.
I played Hero Quest with some mates over the weekend. An old 1989 game actually connects to Games Workshop because it was made with Games Workshop and Milton Bradley. It really shows its age. It's a fun game.
Yep.
It was good fun, and I think mostly the people you play it with is what makes it more fun. But it's in the vein of Dungeons & Dragons. It's got a game board that the dungeon is different every time based on...
clever for 1989.
Yeah, the Game Master has... the game board is obviously a lot of squares, and there are walls built in, but the Game Master behind the screen gets given where the doors are and where the rubble is to block paths. So it becomes a new map, essentially, every time.
Yeah, sure.
And where the traps are and where the monsters are, of course. I think they give you a bunch of pre-generated ones that's in a story mode, but it gives you blank ones if you want to make your own as well. So that was kind of fun. Also went to Beta Bar on Friday night for a Disney-themed night. Was it last Friday? Yeah, it was last Friday.
It was last Friday.
The Friday before, if you're listening to this. And Disney themed, so we rocked out to a bunch of Mulan songs, Under the Sea.
Bit of Frozen.
For those listening at home, Catherine and I were also there.
We were there. Dan's trying to write us out of history, but you're there.
Were you? Dan. Yeah, I just remember having a great time, so I don't know if you were really there.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I love beta. I love the new venue. I think it's better than the old one in some ways because it's better space, but it's certainly less nerdy. In that it feels like a less dedicated beta bar kind of area. Yeah, I mean, it was classic beta bar in a way. Like, I love being at nerd events and being surrounded by nerds, but also it was like, this is a bit of a sausage fest.
Yeah, look, nerd bars are great because I'm there and I don't know what the word is. Judged isn't quite the right word, but when you're at a normal person bar or nightclub, there's this almost competitive vibe. Like, you can feel the testosterone on the wind. And that doesn't exist at beta bar. So that's nice. It's more relaxed, I guess.
Also, I guess, like, in a normal... Oh, I'm about to get in trouble. In a normal club, you're not exactly one of the alphas in a beta bar.
It's funny. I used the word alpha like 2 days ago to describe this place and myself. But we can't
like, I'm not flattering you. This is not
correct.
A flattering comment. I'm saying that it's all about context.
Correct. I think the words non-threatening were a much nicer way of describing that situation.
Yeah, I think for everyone, including us, Charles, you and I have very fragile egos. Being in a place that feels safe for us and others, but it's sometimes really hard to find a safe space for a white male such as ourselves that we can just go and have a quiet drink and not be oogled.
Right, the women just looking at my sugar lumps.
Exactly.
God,
I see you girls.
Genuinely, though, Beta Bar does actually have a really, really good anti-harassment policy, and the people that run Beta Bar are really responsive. They're very happy to not only kick people out, but ban them if there's any kind of hint of someone making someone else feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, good.
And, like, the thing is, you go to a normal bar and, like, you don't know who the owner is, or if there's an issue, you know that the bouncers probably aren't going to care. So I think, like, genuinely, as much as I know you guys were joking then about the safe space stuff, it's like it actually does make a bit of a difference for me to, if I just want to go and have a fun night without feeling hassled, I'm much more likely to feel that at Beta Bar and feel like it's a safe / comfortable space for me to be in, I guess.
Yeah, I also like it because if I start talking to a random person, I'm going to be interested in what they're talking about. If I start talking to some person and they start mentioning things like sports and cars, like, I'm out, I'm gone. I don't care. So I probably won't start a conversation with a random person. But at Beta Bar, I mean, we had a great chat with a guy who does, D&D, dungeon mastering, and he was talking about stuff and I was talking about stuff, and he was, there was mutual nerdiness, impressedness, and that's great. It's nice to be able to actually talk to people about stuff you're interested in.
Yeah, so really we should just only ever go to that bar if we want to socialize outside our own little circles.
Correct.
And
just make a slightly bigger circle.
And apparently this sci-fi convention that Catherine went to without us that kind of feel bad now.
I'm not convinced that exists, but that's all right.
Natcon.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. It was just me having a little party in my room.
Yeah, surrounded by books.
Yeah, with 30 of our author friends. Mr. Snuggles.
Alrighty, do we want to move on to some news?
I think it's probably news time.
About that time.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? It's the sound of E3!
And that is literally the most excited anyone has got for E3.
Oh, man. I saw some great embarrassing moments at E3. Just like almost like a highlights reel.
Like the embarrassing attempted hype.
Yeah, where it's like, we tried to they tried to have a joke and it didn't land. Or they go to high five, but like the other guy's not paying attention. And like that actually... Cringe is not my jam, and it actually hurt me to watch this.
Never watched Peep Show. Peep Show broke me within like a couple of episodes.
That sounds dirty.
It's this British show that's basically just cringe comedy, and I watched it years ago because a guy I liked watched it, and I was like, I can't do this.
Whereas like Charles, you love cringe, right? Like you,
I do.
Yeah.
I get deep in, but it's exhilarating.
Excellent.
Nightmare.
Well, I wanted to touch on. I mean, we may as well just sort of abandon the structure of news and just talk about E3.
Yeah, let's do it.
There was a couple of really cool announcements, a couple that really fell flat. Bethesda kind of didn't bring their A game, I felt, this year.
Their whole presentation fell flat. It was some sequels and some VR stuff and like no name whatevers, and that was it.
I think there was like one thing about Wolfenstein that people are pretty jazzed about.
Nope, that counts as a no-name title.
Okay. Doom.
No, it doesn't. Wolfenstein is famous.
Yeah.
Doom was just a VR, wasn't it? Just a VR hash?
That's pretty cool, though.
Maybe.
Yeah, but like,
and I know Fallout 4 is getting VR, Skyrim's getting a Switch version.
E3 with just, we're turning some things into VR. Although maybe you do. Maybe that's the future.
Well, it's crazy because they took out Best in Show, I think, the last 2 years when they were like, oh, hey, Fallout 4 is coming out next month and Fallout Shelter's out now. Woo! I think people lost their shit over Bethesda announcements in the past, and just this year they didn't have it.
No,
the main guy's like depressed and he's just given up. Like, I can't do this anymore.
He just hates himself.
He's just up there on stage. Are you not entertained?
Crying. Look, what they needed to do was have the next Elder Scrolls games announced. That was the only thing that anyone wants out of Bethesda. Anything else is just a waste of time. There, I've said it.
Yeah, well, they announced some Elder Scrolls stuff, but it wasn't what people wanted.
Yeah.
They announced their card game, which I think they'd announced last year as well.
Like Legends or whatever.
Yeah. Ugh. And I'm playing the Gwent card game at the moment. I'm good for card games.
Yeah, I hear Hearthstone's pretty good. Maybe some people would play that instead.
Yeah. See, I assume people who play Overwatch are playing Hearthstone because I think Blizzard is encouraging you to play their other games to get bonuses in Overwatch.
Is playing Hearthstone. If you're playing an online collectible card game, you're playing Hearthstone. I did play Legends when it was still in its beta at PAX last year, in fact. And look, it was fine. It was a card game on a computer, and it was not better than Hearthstone. And that was that. Especially
because you can get Hearthstone on your phone.
Yeah,
and it's the same
I think the announcement was that Legends is actually coming to your phone. But Hearthstone's already been doing that for about 2-3 years now. So
yeah, and Gwent's on PC and console, but I haven't seen anything about a mobile version yet.
No, but that's obviously going to be a smaller market for obvious reasons. But
I'm not allowed. I mean, I haven't played any card games because they bore the shit out of me. But I looked at Hearthstone and was like, man, like maybe I would try it. And then I just thought, and then maybe I'll restart my WoW subscription. I could hear the little voice like,
yeah. Did you know that if you get to level 3, in Hearthstone, it unlocks a pet companion for you in WoW?
I didn't. And that's what I think the term gateway drug was invented for.
A relapse, maybe? Yeah.
Like, I literally remember watching Josh play Diablo and seeing it was just even things like the font and the UI design, and it reminded me of WoW. And I was like, maybe I'll just go download some. No more Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard life, is what I'm trying to say.
So Bethesda, we love you. We want more from you. But maybe like a Fallout New Vegas 2.
Yeah, a good Fallout game instead of what Fallout 4 was. Because Fallout New Vegas was fantastic. Definitely my favorite of the series.
Really? 3 was my favorite.
No, New Vegas was better than 3. You're wrong.
They handed the reins to someone else for New Vegas, though, didn't they?
There you go. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was just the engine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're totally getting off track. Bring it back to E3.
Yep, sorry.
Back to E3. Yep. All right, that's my one.
Nice.
So excited.
Ubisoft,
I don't like to talk about Ubisoft.
Did they do an Assassin's Creed Origins or something?
Yeah, another Assassin's Creed game.
Assassin's Creed bores me a lot.
Black Flag was pretty great, only because you're a pirate, and then there's some Assassin stuff in there that got in the way.
Pirate game.
Is Sea of Thieves Ubisoft?
Yeah. God, I hope not. Then I'd have to hate myself. Hang on.
No. My hilarious Assassin's Creed. So I've played one of the Assassin's Creed games, the very, very first one.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really stressed me out. I'm like, this game, like, I knew it was assassinating people and that, like, it's not my general genre of game. But I'm like, just every mission, like, I'm just barely getting to, like, every checkpoint in time. And, like, sometimes I'd get some extra time and I wouldn't be quite sure why. But, like, every time I was just barely reaching my goal before the timer ran out. Wasn't a timer, was distance-based. Because one time I just stood still and I'm like, wait, the numbers aren't moving. Oh,
I was about to say, I don't recall there being a timer in
I don't
Assassin's
remember
Creed
it being a timed game.
No, it really, like, there's the occasional mission that's like timed.
That's amazing.
But I played that way for a good 3 or 4 hours, and I was very stressed out.
I'm now imagining Catherine driving somewhere using the GPS in her car, just going like, "Oh shit!"
I gotta speed up.
And ever since then, I've held a small grudge against the Assassin's Creed.
Okay, well, I don't think that's fair. Look, Assassin's Creed games are great for various reasons. They do open world very well and very cleverly, but I mean, it's getting old. I don't think I even heard anything about the British version, except that
it's a British version.
Yeah, it came out and then everyone ignored it.
Everyone was like, "Well, yeah, I think you can play as a girl. There's a brother and a sister." And
look, they'll probably announce a mobile game soon. It'll make more money than all the others combined.
Assassin's Creed VR, perhaps.
Oh my God. Actually, I would play that.
I'm not on the Ubisoft bandwagon. For their games feel a bit samey now. It's sort of like go to the tower and you unlock the map in that area, and here's 20 million collectibles.
They're tired.
And I got really annoyed at is it Wildlands? Is that even Ubisoft? Ghost Recon? Maybe that's EA. Maybe I'm getting them confused.
You played a Ghost Recon game? No, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I played Wildlands. I think they sent us a code. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Yeah, it is Ubisoft. Yeah, it was, okay, you're these American special forces guys, I guess, somewhere in South America, and going to shut down the cartels with impunity. And
you had to find the towers and unlock the collectibles. There
was still very much like, go here and it unlocks a section of the map and here's the missions there's collectibles over here, and if you collect this you can get upgrade parts for one gun, and if you go here you get upgrade parts for your drone strike or whatever. And
yeah, they're really stretching themselves.
I also had a problem with the fact that it's like, oh, okay, so... And this might just be a Tom Clancy thing, where it's, oh, you're Americans on foreign soil. You're allowed to kill whoever you want.
Yeah, that's totally a Tom Clancy thing.
No. That's how the real world works. It's fine. Well, it kind of is. So
it's kind of both, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. All right, bringing it back to E3. So talking about pirate games and how the only good thing about Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the fact that you could be a pirate. There is a game coming out called Sea of Thieves. Now, obviously, we did Black Wake as one of our podcasts, one of the games we reviewed, and Sea of Thieves is kind of like that, except that it's open world and you do what you want, and it's a lot more polished and a lot more nicer looking, a cartoony kind of vibe to it with a lot of fun, and I think that looks so exciting, and I demand that when it comes out, Catherine and Dan, you're going to play it with me. You don't have a choice. Catherine, you may need to buy a new computer. So, and it is
honestly, Microsoft. I looked at it and was reminded of WoW, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
It's being developed by Rareware.
Yeah, it's Microsoft Studios is the publisher, which is hilarious because Microsoft Studios, I don't even know what they brought out in the last 5 years. But
it's being developed by Rare, the same people who made Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo through Nuts and Bolts.
Anything involving
Perfect Dark, Conker's Bad Fur Day. I don't know. Remember when
Goldeneye 007? Wow, that's the last good thing they've done.
Conker's Bad Fur Day was really good, but then they got bought by Microsoft and made Nuts and Bolts, I think, and some other things.
Trash.
So we'll see.
I think Sea of Thieves looks like so much fun, though. Just a lot
of
fun.
Do we have any info about it, like multiplayer or?
Yeah, so it's co-op.
It's an MMO.
It's multiplayer co-op.
Okay. It's not multiplayer co-op. It's an MMO.
I don't think it is.
I'm going to Google that.
Good. Let's move on while you do. So that was what I was most excited about E3. What I did see, which was hilarious, was Microsoft really just...
Sea of Thieves is a piratical MMO from Rare and Microsoft Games
MMO
Studios.
Doesn't mean any more than just your party, though. Either way, we'll get bogged down. We'll research and come back to you next episode. But one thing that Microsoft was bringing out was a remastered Age of Empires 1, the definitive edition. And I'm just like, why does this exist? Why is this required? I feel like if you wanted to play Age of Empires 1, you did it, 10, 15 years ago. And if you didn't do it then, there's a lot better real-time strategy games that have come out since.
I mean, that's happening quite a lot, though, because I know people
with Age
still
of
play...
Empires.
No, I know people that still play Age of Empires, and it's that thing where it's like, well, you want to play the same game, but now you have to like basically run an emulator on your computer, and there's all this hassle. It's like when
Age
they
of Empires
re-released
2,
Grim Fandango.
I will grant you Age of Empires 2. No one wants to play Age of Empires 1.
Clearly, I think someone does.
What's more ridiculous, Charles? Remastering Age of Empires 1, and bear in mind, Blizzard's remastered StarCraft now.
Yep.
Or putting Minecraft into 4K. Because Microsoft is also doing that. And if there's a game that doesn't need 4K resolution, it's got to be Minecraft.
But it's keeping the block graphics, but in 4K.
Yep.
That's fascinating.
Oh, man. Related to Minecraft, it is news. But do you guys know anything about Notch and his Twitter at all?
I know he tweets a bunch. People tweet him.
Have a breakdown and went nuts?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, he's a classic example of how money doesn't buy happiness. Would be what I would describe it, or even how too much money actually makes your life more difficult. Because he's got no drive in the sense of like, there's no point working for anything because he literally never has to work a day in his life again, and he doesn't love feminists. And he also loves people calling people cunt on Twitter, especially people that are like
feminist,
kind of like Anita
Sarkeesian.
Yeah, I can never say her last name. So he consistently kind of attacks her, and his Twitter feed is just a garbage fire, and it's just like. It must be so good that he's no longer in charge of Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
So I really think it is that thing of like, don't get me wrong, I think he's very clearly a great games designer and there was something special there.
I mean, Minecraft was amazing because it did something that no one else did at the time.
But that requires, like, I think I wouldn't dismiss that he's obviously great, but it's like it's a little bit like
everything else.
It's a little bit like Star Wars being taken off George Lucas. Like that's how I feel in terms of Minecraft has become something bigger than him and a big brand, and there's going to be the Minecraft movie and all of that stuff, and then there's just Notch with his billions of dollars on Twitter calling people cunts.
Are you sure he's not an Australian podcast host? Because I'm pretty sure we've dropped the C-bomb a couple of times.
We have, but we don't use it at people. Also, we're Australians, so it's part of our culture.
You can't. Yep, you're racist if you don't let us do it.
Basically.
Very good. And my last little thing I wanted to talk about was that Nintendo are finally bringing out some more games on the Switch, which thank goodness, because I was really starting to feel pretty dark about the whole scenario.
About selling your PS4.
Nope, still don't regret it. Still don't regret it. So Mario Odyssey obviously in December, but much more excitingly, Metroid Prime 4 I think is coming out, and that should be really good and obviously unique to the Switch. And finally, there's rumors and a bit of a reveal that a Pokemon RPG is going to be coming out on the Switch. I would buy
Switch for that.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to preface this with, Charles, have you ever played a Metroid game?
No.
Okay,
but I'm excited about it.
Okay. Secondly, it's not just a rumor. I think Nintendo officially tweeted that there is a Pokemon RPG on Switch.
Yep, but we don't know what that means.
We have no information about it.
No information.
I'm pretty sure Pokemon Mystery Dungeon counts as an RPG, so I really am not holding my breath on
or like Pokemon Snap?
Okay, whoa. If they release a Pokemon Snap 2, especially on the Switch or on fucking phones, people will go nuts.
That'd be pretty great. It wouldn't be what I want.
That's actually related to some gaming that Charles and I have been shame gaming together.
We do need to talk about this.
Which is the Magikarp mobile game.
Oh my god.
There's a mobile game that came out. Dan has refused to play it, even though...
No, I played it.
Oh, you played it?
Did you?
Yeah. I played up until a certain part. I trained my Magikarp. He jumped so high. And then I won... He just couldn't jump any higher, so he had to be put out to pasture. And then
they retire you.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, this is all this game has to offer. I am done.
That is correct. Well, it's not everything. You can get other Pokemon that help your Magikarp level up.
I had a Pikachu to help my Magikarp.
You can get like 10 more.
I got a Slowpoke now, Dan. Slowpoke. What up?
Whoever wrote the game, though, like, they're actually super clever.
It's poison. It is utter poison. And it resembles all that is wrong with mobile gaming.
No, it is the NutraSweet of gaming.
No.
There is no calorie there. There is just a faint flavour.
So they have done a really interesting thing with their payment, payment system, as in, buying diamonds or buying coins or whatever.
You mean like every other mobile game?
There is a lifetime limit and you cannot reset it. So you can't spend over $100 in the game, no matter what.
Really?
Okay, that is interesting.
That is interesting.
And considering that I've been playing the game, now, I'm not going to say how many generations in I am, but I'm a fair number of carp down.
Highest level
Well,
carp?
you can only have one. I'm on level 27.
Okay, it's not too crazy. I'm on 20, so I'm not too far behind.
I'm really going to be interested in what level you got up to. I'm going to be really interested in what level you got up to in Armed with Wings Rearmed.
Be high.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, I think that's really interesting because I haven't paid any money for it, and I generally am pretty happy to spend, a little bit of money on a mobile game if I'm enjoying it. It's very playable without ever buying anything.
I haven't felt the need. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's actually a movement. Maybe it's just kind of them not wanting kids to, the thing where a kid spends $2,000 and it's bad publicity.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's a movement towards mobile games saying, we want to make money, and it's a small, 10-person team.
But enough money.
But we don't want to actually exploit people.
Yeah,
because as much as look, $100 is a lot to spend on a game. I'm not saying that that's a super low limit, but there are lots of games that rely on those whales. Like they rely on someone spending hundreds of dollars a month, like Clash of Clans or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can't afford Arnold Schwarzenegger in your ads unless you're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from players.
Yeah. A week, or a day, really. So I actually kind of applaud them. I think that that's a really good thing and is kind of a movement towards mobile games trying to be a bit more responsible.
What I don't applaud them for is the absolutely terrible game they made.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Well, no, it's not a game. It's more of a meditative.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Dan linked me in this wonderful thing that was, if mobile game advertisements were real and actually said what they were
honest,
giving, you were honest, and it was just some guy telling you how his colors and shapes get your brain high, and you'd spend money and you wouldn't even know what you're doing, and that's pretty much Magikarp.
Yeah,
you've got colors and you've got shapes. And you got reasons to press your screen, and that defines the game.
To be fair, I think I beat the first tournament. I wasn't even looking. I was just pressing, 3 fingers,
you don't need
drumming my fingers on the screen because I knew I would hit an area that would trigger me to jump or whatever.
Yeah. Correct.
That is not a game. That is
it's not a game.
That is a babysitting app.
It's closer. No, it's closer to Tamagotchi. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't a game, but
Tamagotchi had more depth. But
Tamagotchi had a paper, scissors, rock system.
Yeah, it had depth. So my new rule...
The thing is, Magikarp is my favorite Pokemon. So this game was made for me.
Yeah, exactly. The second that I heard about this game, I'm just like, Catherine, I don't know what she's doing right now, but she's really happy. She's just really happy. My new rule is that I only play Magikarp when I'm doing poos. So, and I feel that's a fair rule because that's as much as it requires. Yep. Very good. And on that note, moving on.
Well, I don't really want
news?
to... Yeah, okay. Sure. We can link your news with the poo. That's probably better. Let's have a palate cleanse before we talk about this game we played.
So my news is also out of E3. So there was this fantastic trailer for a game released called The Last Night that looks just completely up my alley, like this amazing aesthetic. It's kind of like Blade Runner-y, and it's not particularly combat-y, and great story and future punk and all of these things. So completely into it. And then, of course, because we're not allowed to have anything nice, old tweets from the developer were kind of found on his Twitter that he immediately deleted, but it was too late. Where he was pro-Gamergate and anti-feminism, and there were some particularly choice ones where it was he said that it's The Last Night is meant to be about the future where feminism has won, and He's not implying that's a good thing.
Oh.
So this is an interesting topic, and we're discussing this in relation to Johnny Depp. I mean, can anyone morally go see the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie without kind of supporting beating women?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you separate art from artist and that kind of thing?
And, you know, there would be a lot of people that would have worked on this game, but like this guy isn't a random programmer. This is the co-creator that had the key idea for the game. And like, and, you know, there are underlying themes in the game where it's like, you know, it's like the exact quote from him is, my game takes place in a future where progressivism, quote unquote, has spiraled out of control. And it's like, no matter how pretty the game looks.
That's a legit fear. I mean, feminism aside, like, you know, my thoughts on where society is going.
Yeah, but I guess it's the, like...
It's almost like a Kurt Vonnegut novel, though.
Also, it's not him going on Twitter saying the N-word or anything like that. It's like, so another quote is, I'm against feminism because it's getting more and more skewed. I'm for egalitarianism. I don't care if you're a boy, girl, or alien. So that's really similar to the stuff where people say, I don't care if you're black, white, or purple. And it's like, generally, the fact that you're a different race or you have a different experience through the world is relevant. Like, the fact that I'm a woman is relevant to how I'm treated and is something that, like, you know, if you guys said, oh, I don't even notice that you're a chick, like, that's not actually that useful to say. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that I'm torn. Like, I won't play this game. Like, I'm a consumer. I have the right to choose where I spend my money. It's really sad because I think the game looks awesome. But
would it be different? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, just he's come out and apologized and been like, you know, that's not how I feel now, and has very much kind of fallen on his sword. People have pointed out that like the last of these tweets was kind of a couple of months ago, so it's not like it was him 3 years ago. It's like, well, kind of sorry because now it's relevant. Like,
the guy's full of shit.
If an anti-feminist or anti-woman message isn't in the game, if the game is completely separate from those old ideas, let's, for argument's sake, say, you turn around and say, you know what, I want this, I just want to explore this space of what happens when whatever.
I think it's the pitch is like what happened, like AI has taken over and humans don't have to do work anymore, so everyone has a universal wage, but it's like, what does that mean in terms of drive and desire, and what do you do with your days and stuff? Like, that's the thing. It's an
something we have to think about, because that's going to happen in the next 10 years.
But that's also sci-fi, right? Like, you explore an idea and then kind of make people think about where you ended up. I mean, can you if let's just say the game is good or kind of good and doesn't have a negative message or a message you don't agree with, could you divorce the creator from the art or the game?
It's a classic question. Like, it's like Woody Allen films or Roman Polanski, or, you know, it's such a thing of, well, art and artist are separate.
Chris Brown songs.
Or Disney. You know, Disney was incredibly problematic. He was more representative of his time, but he was very, very anti-Semitic. And
but everyone was. Everyone
was that's what I mean. Like, so in the sense of the time he lived in, it wasn't nearly as controversial.
Well,
I don't know. I don't
think
I
jump
could.
Off cliffs. Sorry. Go on.
I just don't think I can. Even if the game is nothing to do with it, it's like if a serial killer made a really great video game. It's like, well, like, I still don't maybe want to support that person. I don't know. Where do you guys stand on it?
I would, and Pirates of the Caribbean is the perfect example. I would not go see it because I think Johnny Depp is a disgusting human and a waste of space. And I think anyone that goes and sees it, either hasn't watched the news or thought with their brains, or doesn't care. And I think it's wrong to support. I mean, there's a difference between having a view and, you know, beating your wife, obviously. But I guess the issue I have with what we're saying is that it shouldn't be wrong to have an opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like saying racism is okay, which it's not. But we shouldn't.
We're getting into the weeds a little here.
Yeah, I know.
Well, but I guess the thing is, I'm a consumer.
Art because it doesn't agree with our opinion.
Oh no, that's the thing. I would never ban it, but like, one of the few rights
Close it all.
people. It's like the difference between freedom of speech versus censorship, which is you can say whatever you want, sure, but then if every advertiser pulls all their ads from your website, that's a consequence of the thing you said. Sure. And people confuse those all the time. It's like, yeah, okay, Tim Sorrett, which is the guy here, absolutely has the right to think that feminism is a cancer and has spiraled out of control, and that the Gamergate people had a really good point. But I also have the right to not buy his game.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. And I would go one step further and say I'd probably not tell other people whether they should or shouldn't do a thing. Like, I'll just make my decision and be cool with that. I'm not, well, you know, having said that, I write game reviews.
Yeah.
So, we're the media, Dan. We're like doing exactly that.
However, I'm not going to say like, hey, you should or shouldn't do this because the views are the thing. I don't know. Like, I'll just say, hey, I enjoyed it. Here's why I enjoyed it, or here's why I didn't like it, or here's why I didn't like the whole package. And you go make up your own mind, because hopefully you're an adult, or at least if you're not an adult, you're okay with us swearing occasionally. That makes you kind of adult.
All right. I think we've definitely talked about
we've newsed E3.
Newsed hard.